Hello, and welcome to Always with Awareness. I'm Awa lodmell.
And I'm Douglas Lodmell. And today we want to talk about kindness and consideration and how they're related and what comes first. Because I think there might be some confusion over that. So you tell me, what kindness and consideration, first of all, what's the distinction to you? What's the difference?
Well, kindness is definitely, for me, it is for me. I realize when I'm kind to myself, it's easier to be kind with others.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something that we really emphasize with our kids. Just be kind to yourself. We don't say be kind to others. That is just, it goes with being kind to yourself.
Right.
You know, most of the time people are not kind to themselves, then they want to be kind to others. And that looks more like a people pleaser, and it doesn't last. Because it's just, you're going to hit a wall where you just disappear yourself and you feel overwhelmed. And that's what I see with most of the time people who are kind at work, but there is no consideration.
Right.
Right? I remember when I was raising my child, my kids, they would fight. Of course, it's normal to fight. But I always ask them, who is in front of you? Have that consideration where you can stop and say, this person that is in front of me, I consider them. Why? Because of where they lay in my life.
Right.
The space that they're holding in my life.
It's my brother. It's my sister.
Absolutely.
It's my parents.
Yes. You know, it's my caregiver. It's my neighbor. You know, I think when it's clear, that consideration is so clear, kindness comes easily.
So for you, consideration
Yes.
is the first thing to teach, not kindness.
That's right.
And I found that to be true because if you consider somebody, sometimes it's not even kindness that they need.
Exactly.
Right? Sometimes
Absolutely.
it's sternness that
That's
they need,
right.
especially in the context of your children. Maybe it's not kindness at that moment. It's kind, but it's giving them a lesson.
That's right.
But consideration for them is first, and kindness is a result, and then kindness comes naturally.
That's right. And consideration from your kids to you,
Right.
as a parent.
Yeah.
You know, we are now in a just scratching the surface of how to parent.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful because I watch it all the time. You know, don't hit your child, don't do this, don't do that. But at the same time, the child have a responsibility of the same responsibility we have, adults, as being human, as being considerate. Just because it's somebody older than me, I'm not gonna talk back. You know, and this culture here, I feel, miss out on that.
Yeah.
I come from a culture where we were taught consideration
Yeah.
more than even kindness.
Right, which is where the concept of an elder and how you respect them and treat them differently.
That's right.
Even when you think they're wrong, even
That's
when you
right.
think they're being unreasonable,
Yes.
you still have a certain kind of respect for them, which honestly, I think we've said this before in this podcast, we had in this
Yes.
country. That was a very old world way of being. I think that was something, it's definitely not something we have
Yes.
anymore, I don't think. I think people are not seeing the wisdom as something that they should be considered
That's
or
right.
considerate of,
Yes.
which is sad. I'd like to see us get that back.
I would love that.
And maybe we can do our part for that, you know?
Yeah, and you know, it's good to have these conversations. For whoever's listening there, please comment. Please tell us if that's something you agree with, disagree with. But lately, I watched one of the, I don't remember if it was Instagram or TikTok, mostly Instagram.
Yeah.
Rarely go to TikTok.
Yeah.
This man was explaining how there is 3 mammals that have menopause, and I think it was the whale, elephant, and woman.
Killer whale.
Killer whale.
The killer whale.
The
Just
killer
not all
whale.
whales.
N-
Killer
killer
whale.
whale.
An elephant and humans.
That's right.
Yeah, just 3 out of all the species we know, which is pretty amazing.
It is amazing. And then he goes on to explaining us women who are life givers, once we hit menopause, universe got nothing to do with us. The only reason why we are kept here is because on our third part of our life after 50, when you hit menopause.
Second half. We're going for second
Second
half of our life, not third part.
Well,
even first third of our life. Yeah,
Second
we're
part.
going to live to 127. That's our age. So
Yeah,
we're
good.
not. But
Good.
yes,
Second,
for
second.
traditional, it was the third part of your life.
Part.
Yeah.
Anyway, he went on to explain that the only reason why women are left alive, staying here, is because that part is for education for the grandkids.
Yeah, for the lineage.
For the lineage.
Right.
I found that to be true, and it's beautiful. You know, you are here on earth more time, then maybe you have some experiences and something worth listening to.
Well, I think part of the problem that I think our younger people are facing is that we meaning anybody older than them, almost seem out of touch because the technology is moving so fast. We need them to help us with our iPhones and them to help us with our computers and our apps and everything else. And so they're looking at us as almost kind of, outdated. And so they don't see us as carrying wisdom. But that's because our focus has been turned to money, things, technology, not the things that we're talking about in this podcast, the wisdom, the experience, the experience, the waking up process of being human. In those contexts, the older people have incredible value. The sages, the people who have gone down the path, who have spent years working on this stuff.
Absolutely.
Those people are revered in those circles.
Yes.
It's just, I think we've kind of lost track of what's important.
And that is what makes us human for me. You know, it's good to have all the wealth, all the abundance, but there is something only a human can teach to another human.
Right.
We learn that with animals, right? The mother horse, elephant, you name it, is not saying, do it, then we'll figure it out. It's like, follow me. I'll show you how. You see it when we have a dog that haven't been with their mother the first 2
Right, when they're
months,
taken away too early.
Taken away too early, you see that they don't even know how to go to the bathroom outside.
Right. They're not. They don't even know how to be a dog because they didn't get the teaching.
They didn't get the teaching.
Yeah.
So for that teaching to happen for us humans, we have to bring back consideration. It's more than kindness. You cannot have kindness when you don't consider who is in front of you.
Yeah.
You know, and it comes because you have respect.
Right.
You want to create a space where you touch, moved, and inspired with somebody who's an elder and who has more time, like I said, here on earth.
Right.
And it could be a mother, it could be a neighbor, it could be whoever it is. And it's to bring that back to this culture. Because I see how, even though I'm from a different culture, how we struggle sometimes just having your child picking up another way of hearing, another way of expressing themselves. Just because it's totally different. Now, not only we have taken consideration out, but we have made it almost a weakness.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that's a little bit true, is that when you are considerate, people think maybe you're not strong.
You're not strong.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I bet the differ. If you are going to be a rock climber, you are going to watch somebody who's done it before you and is an expert at it.
Right.
So when an adult is talking to a child who doesn't have any consideration, thinking their way is going to be different, I don't think it's true. We have not moved that much when it comes to the needs of a human being.
Right.
Technology, yes, but to be a human, it takes a human.
Yeah, it's always been interesting to me that, especially of late, where we are deciding that we are now free to debate anything and everything that was kind of settled before. We all agreed the world is round, this is up, that's down. You're a woman, I'm a man. And now it's all up for grabs, right?
Yeah.
However, in the things that really, really matter, we still have the rules that apply. So if you're going to be a pilot, the laws of flying, and they apply, and you're going to be taught that. You're not going to get a new way of thinking around lift and drag. You're going to get taught what it really is, and you're going to agree to it, because otherwise you're going to die.
That's right.
But this is part of it, right? This is what reminded me of what you just said. When you're trying to teach consideration, it's a fundamental human thing. It's not, oh, that's the way you guys were. We're doing it different.
That's right.
We can just do it through technology. I don't have to have that same level of respect or consideration because we have an app for that, and whatever.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And it is important to talk about, because I think us adults are failing this new generation by just keeping them up to that level of understanding that they are not alone.
Yeah.
No one will do this life alone. We didn't come here alone. We didn't feed ourselves the first 10 years of your life. You didn't do anything alone. And you won't, by the way. And that is why consideration is very important. It brings you back the feeling of being part of something bigger than you, yourself, your little self.
Yeah.
Well,
and when we lived in a village where everyone had a job to do, and if you didn't do your job, everybody could tell, because we didn't have fire that night because the firewood person didn't get the firewood, or we didn't eat because the fisherman didn't bother to fish. We could tell, and we held each other accountable to that.
Yes.
Because we needed each other so much. Now we've created this life where, we have friends, we have people that almost see no one.
Yes.
They Uber Eats and DoorDash their food, they live in their house, they're living in their computer or their TV, and they're kind of living these lives of almost solitude.
That's right.
And it's really kind of unnatural for a human being to do.
And it goes on to relationship with your partner.
Yeah.
It's hard to respect somebody if you don't have any consideration for them.
Oh. Yeah.
And I see right and left, people can really lack to have consideration for their partner. And yet thinking they have respect.
Right. It's almost, I would almost say it's the norm.
Yeah.
When you see couples, it's almost the norm that there's a lack of consideration. And they've settled into a functional working relationship. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But it's not the kind of consideration that I would choose for my life.
That's right.
With my partner in particular. But that's something I think that definitely you brought.
I wanted to share this because I was married before. This is our second
as
marriage.
was I.
Yeah, so you. And because of the consideration I have for my first marriage, it is even hard for my mind to grab anything that was not right, about it. Because the consideration is so big that it comes with the respect.
Right.
I see now most couples that are going through a tough time, losing that consideration. And when you lose that, it is so easy to blame, bitch at the other person, and lay out things that is not important, but doesn't add in raising a child together that will respect both parents and respect her himself.
Yeah.
Is to bring back consideration, to say these things we will not do.
Yeah.
This is your father, no longer my husband, but I have consideration for this man for who he is, who he was, and who he will be for me. Now, doesn't mean that that man don't have any flaws, but the consideration is still there.
Right. You didn't, and this is something that I've seen. God, it's almost the standard practice. When you decide to divorce or
Yes.
break up, you almost feel like you need to rile yourself up to all the wrongs so that you can justify it.
Yes.
But you don't. You can simply choose and say, there's nothing wrong.
Yeah.
There's nothing particularly wrong. I'm just choosing. I see this as not a relationship I can spend the next 40 years in or 50 years in.
Yes.
And I'm choosing. It's not because they did anything to me. It's not because I'm just choosing. And that's a rare thing nowadays. Most people don't know how to choose.
Yes.
They have to rile themselves up and make it wrong to make a decision. And that's a detriment. That's a handicap to your ability to choose in your life.
Yes.
Because, boy, if there's one thing that has been more powerful than anything in my life, it's learning to choose. Not because of a reason, not justifying it because of this or that, just simply saying, I'm choosing to do this.
I love that you put choice with consideration.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it so much easier when you have a consideration for something or for somebody to choose clearly.
Right.
It helps you choose.
Yeah.
Why? Because you know already where they stand in your life. And then it's not a work anymore.
Yeah.
It's not. So having a consideration in your life for your work, which we call job, once you have that and it's clear and you know what it means for you to have a job, how easy that makes it. You know, that makes me think of our niece who was about to lose her job. Not lose it, but
Quit her
leave it.
job.
Quit her job.
Yeah, leave her job.
And she came and shared with us how she was going to go by it.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not a thing to
Well,
do.
let's explain it. So I'm going to go on vacation, and then in vacation, I'm going to say, hey, I'm leaving, and my 2-week vacation is going to be my 2-week notice.
That's right.
I said, that's not what 2-week notice means in my world, but what we really got to is, is that being considerate?
That's right.
Or is that just technically meeting the rules?
That's right.
And which one do you want to be? And how do you want to train yourself in this life to be? Because if you do it at work, you're going to do it at home.
Absolutely.
You're going to do it with your husband. You're going to do it with your kids,
Yep.
with your friends, with your next job. I mean, how you do anything is how you do everything.
For sure.
That has proven so true in one of the most fundamental statements and beliefs that we've adopted that has helped us to see mainly ourselves.
Yes.
Because I can look at how I eat, how I drive, how I fly, how I communicate with my clients. It all has the same
Flow.
consistency to it. And we think, oh, we can do this with consideration, with care, and over here we can be rude and inconsiderate over here because they don't deserve my consideration.
That's right.
And the consideration is never for the other person. It's for you.
It is for you. It is for you, and it is a beautiful way to live life. It eases the mind. Because when you know for sure that you have chosen to put this person in your world, they have a space that you have put them there that means something to you. That got nothing to do with them. Consideration is for you.
Yeah.
That means these things, I will not go there in my life.
Yeah, I won't do it because I won't do it.
Because I won't.
Not because they deserve better or anything else. It's I won't do it. And it translates into somebody that other people notice and can tell and are like, trust.
That's
They
right.
trust who you are because of the way you're considering your own self. That's what I think we used to call our values.
That's right.
The things that we just wouldn't do because we chose not to do it. I won't do it because I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And now we're falling on, oh, I'm not doing it because, my parents don't want me to do it, or, it's not good for me, or whatever.
Yeah.
instead of choosing. Again, it all comes back to this choice.
That's right.
Can you choose freely something and not feel like you have to justify it?
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you, living a life where you have to justify your every decision is like living in prison, because
That's
you're
right.
constantly just trying to figure out, and you're lying to yourself all the time.
That's right.
You're just lying to justify. You know, you see it. Somebody will come and say, "Oh, this is great. My relationship's great," and they'll give you 25 reasons why their new boyfriend is amazing, and then next week they're not with him, and they give you 25 reasons why he was terrible, and I didn't know this and that about him, and they were never in choice. They were always just imprisoned by the string of stories that they tell themselves in their mind.
That's right. And this is an invitation again to welcome a long done deal before, because that was my generation. I considered who were my parents, who is my village, who are my friends. And when I travel outside of my country, I kept that. And it made my choice being clear. I never had these mood swings.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't because I'm kind.
No.
Actually, I'm not kind most of the time.
Well, you know what? No, it's an interesting point, because unfortunately, a lot of people who are kind are actually just trying to please. Yeah. And they're actually not considering themselves at all. They're actually just trying to do anything and everything at all times to please somebody. That's so right. They come off as overly kind and overly, overly concerned about your, well-being or comfort or whatever. Mm-hmm. And in reality, they're dying inside.
That's right.
Right? So consideration looks like kindness sometimes, but not always.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I found myself always having to help people get out of their mind and say, but who is that person to you?
Yeah.
We tend to forget who are the person in our lives, mm-hmm. and why are they there? What are the role they're holding for us? They're mirroring us. Mm-hmm. I don't do things out of kindness. I do them as of consideration. So I'm more a choice.
Yeah.
So, and then kindness, then it looks like kindness out there.
Right.
So we are sharing this again because I see a lot of videos where people are saying, don't be kind. Don't be a people pleaser. Yes. If you are not considerate, you might feel overwhelmed with kindness and forgetting about yourself.
Right, and so they're trying to identify, don't be a people pleaser, so that means don't be kind. They're missing underneath it. What it is that be considerate of yourself, of others, and find that balance of what in the moment needs to be said. This reminds me of a story about the Dalai Lama. Mm. It's told that a man went to see him, mm-hmm. who had lost his wife and his children in terrible circumstances and was just absolutely torn up about it. Mm. And he told the Dalai Lama his story, and he's crying, and and in that moment, the Dalai Lama saw that what this man needed was not what looked like kindness. Mm. It actually looked like he held it tight. Mm-hmm. He did not show any compassion, because the man didn't need more buying into his story. He needed, hey, wake up, snap out of it. It's over.
That's right.
And the Dalai Lama could see it, and he gave it to him.
That's right.
And so what was he doing? Was he being kind, or was he being considerate? He was being considerate, which in that moment didn't look like kindness. The man finally kind of realized the Dalai Lama wasn't on his track, and from that was able to grow and move.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. So just think about it. See, when you are kind, the kind of kindness that by the end of the day, you're kind to so many people that you feel like you disappeared and you're overwhelmed, and now you want to be unkind.
Right.
And
usually to the people at home. Now your wife and your kids, you're unkind because all day you had to please all those people.
Absolutely.
Your clients, your customers, your friends, all the stuff. And so you come home and you're just kind of done with it, and you're like, woman.
But when you practice being considerate every day of your life, you feel like life is going easily.
Yeah.
Why? Because you have really thought of the gift of these people in your life. And that thought alone is so rejuvenating. It is that's the fuel. It's not the kindness. The fuel is the consideration.
Right.
Then whatever you do after that will be enough.
Yeah.
Whatever you would do, because it will be felt. Mm-hmm. It will be felt by whoever is there that you're sharing with.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how hard you're going to tell them, no, you are wrong. They can feel that you are considering them. You are not a people pleaser. You are not just kind. You know, we have a saying in Africa that say, yoka karau chikharbi, meaning adding more hair to the sheep. That's what people do.
Yeah.
You come, you feeling bad about your husband, they're like, oh yeah, you're right. They want to please you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Let's pile more
that's wrong.
hair on that sheep of your story about whatever.
Yeah. Whatever you need validation, you will find somebody to validate you. Why? Because you will make the story something they will have to buy in. You thought about it, you know exactly what to say. But if you consider it, maybe you yourself, the way you will tell your story, the why you say the story, you will know exactly what to do and not to do.
Yeah, it's about being honest, right?
That's right.
You can be considerate and honest, which may look kind, may look not kind, mm-hmm. may look stern, may look soft. It depends in the moment, right? Mm-hmm. There was another study done that is right on point with this. They would take a couple and they'd put them in a room and they'd have them fill out a questionnaire. And that it took them about 30 minutes to fill out this questionnaire, and they had to do it together. And then after that, they would turn in the questionnaire. The analyst would review it and then meet with the people. And they could tell with 80 or 85% accuracy if that couple was going to make it.
Yes.
Had nothing to do with the questionnaire. The questionnaire was irrelevant.
Yes.
Had literally nothing to do with it. They had a camera in the room, and all they were looking for is, did they consider each other?
Yeah.
Which it looked like respect. Did they hear each other when they were alone and when they were trying to show their best face because they thought this questionnaire mattered,
yes.
you know, and it didn't matter. What mattered is how they interacted. Mm-hmm. And 85% accuracy to the survival of your relationship, that tells you how important consideration, which looks like respect, becomes in your life.
Absolutely.
And if you have it with the most important people in your life, it's not hard to have with everybody.
No, because the way you do anything, again, is the way you do everything. So that was our share of the day.
Yeah.
To bring back consideration, look at what it looks like in your life if you have more consideration. What will change? Mm-hmm. Where would you not just say, oh, I'm being overwhelmed right now. This is too much. I'm too kind. He's not. I am. I'm respectful. He's not. You cannot control people. You will never be able to control people. But you can control this one. And this one can be so considerate that all day, all that he can think of is the importance of the people in he or she life. Yeah. And that, I believe, is the key to happiness. Long-lasting joy, for sure.
I mean.
I'm in.
I'm in. I'm in.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that was our intake about consideration. Why we're talking about it? Because we feel like it's missing most of the time. We started with the kids, but there is no kids without the adults. Why? Because monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah.
So let's bring it back so that we can teach it to our kids, to this new generation. I think it will be something good for them.
I think it will be beautiful. And in the end, Michael Jackson was right. I'm starting with the man in the mirror.
The man in the mirror.
It's the only one you can even have a hope to possibly influence and transform. So start there, not everybody else. Just start here.
Yeah.
And watch what happens to your life.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
all right. Well, thank you
Okay.
for joining us. Always with awareness. Please like, subscribe, share this with your friends, and ask us questions. We love questions.
That's it.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
See you.